Today, we will explore an essential piano practice warm-up exercise involving the staccato touch. It is the first in a series of exercises that are not only warm-ups, but they will also effectively develop your overall finger technique. In this exercise, we'll hold down one note while playing other notes with a staccato touch. Playing these patterns with the proper hand position will strengthen your fingers, it'll allow your coordination to flourish, and enable your dexterity to greatly advance. So, let's get started. Throughout the exercise, I'll continue the reminder about hand positioning. Keep your wrists tall, not lowered or collapsed. You'll want your knuckles to remain tall and rounded, not lowered or collapsed. Keep your fingers rounded and tall. You don't want this to happen. You want that joint to remain strong. Lastly, it's important to keep the outside of your hand tall and raised and strong. If the outside of your hand collapses, that means that some strengthening is definitely needed. To begin with, we'll practice this exercise hands alone, and once this becomes comfortable and easy, you can do this exercise hands together as it's shown on the written music. Place your right hand on the C above middle C. We'll stay in this hand position the entire exercise. We'll go up from the first finger to the fifth, and then back down from the fifth finger to the thumb. Each sequence will be played 2 times as shown in the music. The first note of the sequence will be the note that is to be held down. The other notes of each sequence will be played staccato with high, lifted fingers. And remember, a staccato touch is a very crisp sound because it's instantly released. You'll see and hear the pattern as we go along. So here we go. The thumb, hold that down, staccato on all the other notes. We're going to repeat this. Thumb again. Here comes the second finger. Make sure that your wrist remains tall and relaxed. We'll repeat this sequence. Keep your arm relaxed and your wrist relaxed. Here comes the third finger. Try to keep all the notes having the same volume. Make sure the third finger hasn't collapsed. Tall hand. And here comes the fourth finger. Keep the fourth finger tall. We're going to repeat the fourth finger. And get ready for the fifth finger. Keep the outside of the hand tall. Don't let it flatten out. And this repeats. Now we're on measure 11. We're going to play the fifth finger again and now come down. Keep your staccato sound very short and crisp. Keep the fifth finger very tall. Don't let it flatten or collapse. Here comes the fourth finger. Same volume for all the notes. Fourth finger again. Stay relaxed. Now the third finger. Check each finger to make sure it's in the correct positioning. Here comes the second finger. Second finger again for the repeat. Keep it steady, don't rush. And here comes our last sequence, the thumb. Keep your hand tall all the way to the end. Excellent. Now for the left hand. Place your left hand on the G below middle C. We'll stay in this hand position the entire exercise. We will play moving down from the first finger to the fifth finger, and then back up from the fifth finger to the thumb. Just like the right hand, each sequence will be played 2 times, as you can see from the music. The first note of the sequence will be the note that is held down. The other notes of each sequence will be played staccato with high, lifted fingers. Keep your staccato touch crisp and short. Remember a tall wrist, not lowered. Remember tall knuckles, not caved in. Remember tall, rounded fingers. You don't want that collapse to take place. Keep them rounded and strong. And here we go. Thumb on G to hold. Staccato. Keep your staccato sound very crisp, very short. Now for the second finger. Keep all fingers tall, not caved in. Second finger again. Try to keep all the notes the same volume. Third finger. Takes a little concentration here. Third finger again. Tall hand. And stay relaxed. Don't let your arm get tense. Fourth finger. Keep the outside of your hand very tall. Don't let it collapse or get lowered. Now for the fifth finger. Keep the fifth finger tall. Really pay attention to that. And the outside of your hand tall. Fifth finger again. Now we're going to start the sequence coming back up. Fifth finger, again, we're on measure 11. Fifth finger again. And get ready for the fourth finger. Keep your fourth finger tall and all of your fingers tall. Check the volume of each note. Fourth finger again for the repeat. And here comes the third finger. Little concentration here. Third finger for the repeat. Don't let yourself rush. Second finger. Tall fingers, tall wrist, tall knuckles. Second finger again. And here's our last sequence. Here's the thumb. Don't let your hand collapse. One more time. Excellent work. For some added challenge, we'll go back to the right hand and play this exercise in the key of C sharp major. The key of C sharp major has 7 sharps. In other words, all the notes are sharped. You can imagine a sharp sign in front of every note. So now we have C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F sharp, and G sharp. Playing this exercise in the key of C sharp major completely changes the feel and the shape. It adds an additional level of training and development. And just like in the key of C major, once this becomes comfortable and easy, you can practice this hands together. With your right hand in place on C sharp, let's begin. D sharp, E sharp. It should feel very different. Keep your wrists tall, your knuckles tall, fingers rounded and strong, not caved in. Try not to rush. Here's D sharp again for the repeat. Keep the notes all the same volume. Check your fingers, especially your third finger right here. Keep it rounded. Here comes the fourth finger. And here start to really check the outside of your hand to be sure that it hasn't collapsed. Now we're coming up to the fifth finger. Tall fifth finger, don't let it lower or collapse. Fifth finger repeats. Now we're going to be on measure 11. Play the fifth finger again, and now we're going to come down. All the same volume. Very steady. Fifth finger, very tall, very strong. Here comes the fourth finger. Check the positioning of the fourth finger. Repeat. And now for the third finger. Stay relaxed. Don't let your wrist or your arm get tense. Here's the second finger, D sharp. Same volume for all the notes. Keep your second finger tall, don't let it cave in. And now we're going to be on our last sequence. One more, repeat. Great work. Let's move to the left hand. Place your left hand on the G sharp below middle C. Remember to imagine a sharp sign in front of every note for the key of C sharp major. Check your hand position, and let's begin. Thumb on G sharp. And repeat. Keep your sound very strong. Here's the second finger. Try to keep all the notes the same volume. Second finger again. Tall fingers. Here's the third finger. This one's a little bit harder. We're going to play the third finger again. Keep your third finger very tall. And now for the fourth finger. Tall fourth finger. Repeat the fourth finger. And now for the fifth finger. Make sure the outside of your hand remains tall, not collapsed. Fifth finger again. Make sure your fifth finger is standing curved and not caved in. Now measure 11. coming back up. And repeat. Relax your arm. Here's the fourth finger. Check the fourth finger to be sure it's tall and relaxed, but also strong. Fourth finger again. And here comes the third finger. Tall third finger. Third finger again. Check your knuckles and your wrist. Everything in position. Here's the second finger. All the same volume. And we're ready for the last sequence. Here's the thumb. And thumb again. Wonderful. You can probably feel that your fingers have just completed a great technical warm-up and workout. Enjoy your piano progress and your advancement. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe so you receive the latest training, teaching, and performance videos.